Welcome again, family. Welcome again. This is Knowledge and Nonsense. I am your host, Kenneth Campbell, and guess what? It's time to talk. I have a very special episode with y'all here today. I've invited a very good friend of mine, Tani Coburn, to be my guest host today because we are speaking with a very special team, and I want everybody to just get the knowledge that they're going to bring to the table. Very special thanks again to Calzura shoes. See that? You got the strap, you got the no strap. Treat your feet. SBD professionals, here you go. Only shoe that can be thermally disinfected and sterilized. And we do have the IFU on one source. Treat your feet. There is use time to talk on the checkout for yourself and get a discount for your team. Tani, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you, Kenneth?
I am doing excellent. Thank you for joining me for this special episode. It's been a wonderful ride so far.
Yes.
What I wanted to do with this episode is I wanted to kind of tie together everything that we've talked about so far.
Okay.
So far, we've talked about culture.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about training. We've
Right.
talked about standards and regulations and what that looks like in facilities. So today, what I did, and this is me being transparent, I invited my team.
Okay.
So I wanted my team to show you and show everybody what it looks like from the front line. Because they're in there doing it every day, hands on, going through these same things that we are talking about on a daily basis. And I wanted their stories to be told. You know, as they say, it takes a village. This is my village. So I'm bringing my village to the forefront to let people know that, you know, yes, this is my platform, time to talk, but I wouldn't be put in this position without my team. So I brought my supervisor, Sam Brown. I brought the senior techs, Dan Van Dusen, Rebecca Clark, and Terry Bandy. You're going to be talking to all of them and, you know, just getting some very, very good insight as to what happens during a normal day, or, you know, the process by which we've come to this part right here.
Okay.
So that's why I wanted to do this episode, just so I can show the recognition to the people that's in there every day and let people know, like, hey, some of the struggles y'all have, we may be on these platforms and we may be doing all of this, but we still go through some of the same things.
Right.
So that's my gift to them, my gift to y'all, that being able to talk to frontline workers and getting their side of the story. We've talked to educators, we've talked to leaders, we've talked to directors, we've talked to managers. Now we get to hear from the front line.
Right.
So and you're I know, you know, you started out in our world, so I know you got to, you know, learn a lot about what happens in the day-to-day process, and that's why I wanted you to be, you know, somebody non-judgmental, non-opinionated, to just come in and talk to them and get their side of the story.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you having me on and giving me a chance to talk with some of my fellow folks in the trenches from time to time. So,
I knew you would be the person for the job.
Hey, well, I guess it's time to talk.
Hey, without further ado, I give you my team, welcome to this platform. Enjoy. And family, I'll talk to you at another time.
All right.
Hello.
Hey, hi. So we've got Sam, Dan, Terry, and Becky. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kenneth's time to talk is done.
No more Kenneth.
For today, right? So, so what Kenneth was saying was, we've had a couple of episodes and talked about the culture. We talked about training new folks and standards and regulations, the changes and how they affect you and the team. So that being said, I'm just gonna throw a question right out there.
Dive in.
What challenges as it relates to SPD would you say SPD culture are you facing in your facility?
So I would say, first, let me give a shout out to Kenneth because he has brought us to like the forefront of the hospital. People really know what our department is all about and have a better understanding and appreciation for us. But in regards to our brothers and sisters upstairs in the OR, I definitely would say it's just dependent on the day, If they're having a good surgery day, everything's running smooth, there's no issues, then we have an amazing culture and bond and conversation. Okay. But on that one day where that surgeon drops that instrument and we don't have another one ready for him, then we're going to have issues where we never do anything right. There's always holes. Everything's always wrong. There's never any indicators.
Okay.
Right? We can't be the only people that have these issues.
Is that the consensus? And anybody else want to jump in there on that question? The SPD culture.
Don't jump in.
Nobody right there. So I'll throw another question right out there. So you said it's an amazing day if everything is going smooth, but if it's not, then would you say it becomes a little bit of us versus them type of day?
I would say that it definitely looks to be that way, whereas it's always the pointing the fingers of, oh, it was them, or, oh, no, it was them. So like tensions seem to get pretty high and it can escalate into like a snowball effect. But usually it calms down and we find resolutions. We make things right. We try our best to work with them so that these problems don't happen in the future.
So I find it interesting, Becky, that you said we make things right, which sounds like if the surgeon dropped the instrument upstairs, it's SP's fault.
So no, it's not our fault. It's just that we want to make it right for everybody. Like, I don't mean like that they're wrong, we're wrong, they're right, we're right. It's not like, it shouldn't be a pointing fingers game. We just want everything to work together so that at the end of the day, everybody is satisfied with the outcome of making sure it doesn't happen again, or some kind of resolution to how we can prevent it from happening again.
So, yeah, like, let's use that same example. The surgeon dropped the instrument, but then there might be a finger point as to, well, the backup set's still in the sterilizer. How come it wasn't sterilized, yesterday afternoon or something?
Right.
We don't have
No, I hear that was sent down 3 hours ago. Why isn't it done yet?
Oh my God.
That's what I hear all the time.
And
I always have to remind them that turnaround time, 3 hours, isn't really, attainable with the way that they're pushing out surgeries and they're coming down and we're cleaning them. And, there's a couple case carts in front of that one sometimes. And, we have few people in decon and they can't do it all at once. I feel like they think this is McDonald's and we're just, like, snap your finger and here you go. There it is, all done. It's like, it doesn't work like that. It takes time for us to clean properly, then inspect and sterilize and let it cool and like.
So Dan, you know, I kind of feel like in sharing that you're preaching to the choir, because we know how it goes. So with the culture and the vibe of between OR and SP, as we're using that example, exactly how are you conveying that message to them? Just wondering how are you telling them exactly that, like, hey, it takes this time, or someone going up and handling that for you?
Yep, we do. We tell them, and then they understand and back off. I mean, I get it. They're getting pressure from the surgeon, and so they got to come down and like say, "Hey, what's going on there?" And then they got to bring a good answer back to the surgeon, or else sometimes stuff gets thrown, or they start crying, or like.
So sometimes I would guess when things get thrown, I know I've seen it that it's easy. No, maybe not just easy, but to run people off, to lose employees, because hey, this atmosphere is tough, or this work is harder than I thought. Yeah. So are you having any retention issues?
Okay. So I just want to piggyback off of Dan and just say, like, one of the things we're doing now, we're trying to get everybody involved. So people upstairs, surgical techs, nurses. So when new people come on, we bring them downstairs and we show them our process. We let them walk through the decon, assembly, autos, sterile storage. And they get a feel for how long it takes, what they need to do, what it entails.
I think that's a good idea, Terry. Like, once you actually have a little bit of understanding, once you understand, as our host Sharon says sometimes, once you understand, you have a little more understanding, So right. I like that. So that being said, I think I was just going to ask about retention issues. Are you dealing with retention issues in your department?
So historically, I would say yes, because we were considered one of the lower paid departments.
Okay.
But Kenneth has brought recognition, and we do have a clinical ladder in place. So I wouldn't say the department is used as such a stepping stone as it once was, but Becky can probably speak to this. The second shift, you just can't keep the staff working 3 to 11. So people want to like either get to days or go to overnight. So it's not necessarily retention in the department, but retention on the shift.
On that specific shift. That's interesting. Becky, you want to comment on that?
I mean, so first shift, they get, their cases are just beginning. They're starting the day. They do all these other things, but the real workload happens on second shift. It really does. It does.
Shift wars.
Sorry, guys.
Wow.
But it does.
Wow.
We get the brunt of the work, and we get the most blame from the OR for things happening. It does happen. So it's like kind of a revolving door where people are like, wow, this is really, really, really tough, and this is a lot to, do. So we who do move to the first shift, they go on to the third shift or wherever. So on my shift, I would say that we struggle for staff.
Right. Okay.
So Dan started on second shift.
I started on second shift. I started on second shift in 2010.
And I started on second shift in 2015.
And then went to first.
And couldn't wait.
I was like, are you guys both on second shift still? So you've left and gone to first.
I have a history. Okay.
I like second shift. I just want to put that out there.
I do like second shift.
I like second shift.
You get left alone more. You do.
Yes.
You have more autonomy on second shift. Well, at least back in my day.
Yeah.
Back in my day. So I started on second shift. I did not have kids or a wife yet, so it was good for my lifestyle at that time. As I grew older and I met my significant other and had children, that my priorities shifted to where now they're in school. And if I was working second shift Monday through Friday, I wouldn't see them, So that was my biggest, was my biggest thing there. I wanted to see my kids.
It's nice.
Are you saying I don't?
That's a nice thing.
Yeah, I almost had to wipe a tear, Dan. So, with that, just that specific case that you just mentioned, would you say that the culture of the shift is supportive? Is that, hey, we're looking out for each other? Just wondering how that goes with your SP.
Absolutely.
For the most part,
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stress very much that we are a team, that we can't do it without each other. Like it takes a village. It really does. And it takes all of us working together to create this absolute perfection of a line that ultimately we all can benefit from. So stressing teamwork and communication is huge with me. I push it on all of my people.
I love it. So I want to go back and just kind of go back and revisit a little bit. We were talking about retention and running folks off. And then some folks in the chat mentioned, hey, we have people come to this department and go look at the OR and walk through surgeries or whatever. So when it comes to training a new person, can y'all tell me a little bit what that looks like for your team?
An ideal training situation or real life?
You know what? Let's first go with the horror of it all, and then whichever one you want to share first, and then come back to the ideal. Let's talk about the reality. How does it work in reality?
So my main horror in reality is that the trainee and the trainer are trying to take their time, learn these instruments, but they're also the only people assigned to that assignment for the day.
Yep.
So it is just a complete crazy slowdown of workflow.
Okay.
So now you have, it's either you work behind them, you're watching them like an eagle eye, or you start doing work too and then just check back and forth every once in a while. And it's tough. It's tough to watch them, like every second when you have to push out trays to turn around for tomorrow's surgeries.
And everyone's different too that you train. So one person could get it after one day of showing them. And
So in an ideal situation, what does it look like?
I would like it to be fully staffed where if you were on assembly, you wouldn't even have to worry about doing any of those trays that they're using that day. You could have like a set list of trays and specialties that you run through and have to check off to make sure that you actually get a full rounded training.
Yeah.
Wow.
Makes sense.
That would be ideal.
Everybody's
going to work on that for me, okay?
Stars right there.
What about per department? So you would just bring a new person in and just have them assembling, or would you start them? And I mentioned this earlier. Or would you start them?
So I'm team decon.
I think
assembly. I think assembly.
Okay, so it's 3-1. And so does that mean that the 3-team assembly would start someone in assembly and only you, Sam, would start them in decon?
No, we would make a group decision and we would stick to it.
No, I just meant
sounds like I would
perfect world for you.
I started in decon, so I think that's probably why I gravitate towards starting someone in decon.
What would be the benefits right there? And I'm going to come back and ask you, team assembly.
It just worked better for me because I had this one case cart and the OR was really good about putting the instruments back with the correct sets. So I was learning the trays and learning the instruments that goes in those trays as I'm cleaning them. I know what instruments need to be taken apart.
See, instruments don't always come down in the baskets they're supposed to be.
No, they don't.
But this was 2015.
So you don't have time to be examining everything in decon. Right. You got to scrub under there and string it, string it.
Yes, but I was an amazing trainee.
Okay, so now I'll just throw this same ball over to the assembly team. What would be the benefit or rationale for why they should start in assembly?
So Okay.
No, you go.
So I believe that with the count sheet, everything in front of you, you have a good idea what it looks like. You're stringing the instruments. You're seeing what's coming out of the washers. So you can see like when they call out hand wash or V-Pro, that.
Yes.
So when you go in decon, you know what you need to put out the window. You know what needs to go in the wash. You'll probably learn that something's cannulated, gets sonic. So by the time you get in there, you have a better idea.
Okay.
Ditto.
So I'm gonna go a little bit more into this one. So we get a lot of people from different departments who have no idea what SPD is. They have no idea that what we do. They've never seen an instrument before. I've had there was a time where someone had called it a tool, and I'm like, oh my god, that's not a tool. I was like, no, don't do that. So I feel like putting them on assembly gets them familiar with our surrounding. So they're not thrown into like, hey, this is a drill, don't submerge that. Or like, anything like they can get a grasp of even what an instrument is. They can see our culture, and then they become comfortable about asking questions that they're not familiar with. So I go with assembly, then decon.
And then they're going to go to decon for 3 weeks and all that PPE and heat and go pass. But you've wasted all this time on them.
But at least you're only wasting 2 weeks and not 14 and doing decon at the end.
Okay, I could see the advantage of going either way. I'm gonna jump. I do want to just pause and give a shout out to our sponsor, Calzura, for tonight, and say, hey, treat your feet with the new shoes. Okay, so my next question. You mentioned earlier about people changing shifts. I want to ask about your career ladder in SP. Yeah, I see half my face.
Commercials.
What was that?
I think we're going to go to commercial break.
Somebody who left the talk show is talking.
Those in the know SIPS Consults. SIPS Consults is hiring. Confident, competent, and consistent. Starting as a consultant and a volunteer, SIPS has grown into a dynamic group of stellar sterile processing professionals, offering excellent benefits, 401k, and consultant in training program. We are hiring certified technicians, leads, supervisors, interim managers, educators, coordinators. Apply at recruiting@sipsconsults.com or dial 1-866-615-7977.
Hi, we're back. Okay, so to clarify my question, I see there's a supervisor and then we've got some senior techs. So you got 3 team assembly. Interesting that the senior techs are team assembly. But that being said, can maybe each of you maybe speak to how you see the career path for someone coming into SP? And really, if you don't mind, maybe sharing your thoughts on your career path. What does it look like? Maybe sharing that for maybe somebody looking or interested in coming into our world.
Who wants to go to the career ladder?
I know, that's where I was going.
So we do. So Kenneth did implement a clinical ladder.
Yep.
Terry's going to tell you about it.
Okay. Okay. Come on, Terry.
So people come in. They can come in with no experience as a Tech 1. They learn everything, and then when they're done with their training, they get their books for their CRCST, and then they can get their first certification, and that brings them to a level 2. And then you can get your instrument specialization, which brings you to a level 3. And then after, with some more experience, you can become a lead, and then eventually a supervisor. And there's a pay increment with each tier.
Okay. So I know you are you saying, I shouldn't say are you saying, you guys are steadily moving up the ladder there. What kind of time frame have you seen that, would you say, averaging for somebody coming in, looking at moving up?
Well, it's weird because I think before you needed 2 years to do the certification, but that was before the ladder, so I don't have a good gauge on how motivated people are with the ladder in place versus the base pay rate.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I was 2015, we're going back, there was no incentive to get your certification. You just had, the hospital required it within 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no incentive for some people to go out and get that within the 2 years, right?
Okay.
But now I think there's definitely obviously a monetary incentive. And if you have people that are passionate about the job and the culture, then they're going to want to do that on their own anyways. Because a lot of people, they're not married yet. They don't have the kids. They're younger. They want to see the world. So there is a lot of talk about traveling. And obviously you're going to...
starry-eyed.
Yeah. So,
at first, huh? No. Okay. So would you say that even, I guess, the career ladder at your facility, does that just directly correlate with that shift schedule that we talked about too? As you move up, do you get to change shifts?
No.
No.
No, you don't.
Just wondering. All right. So, new question. New standards, new regulations, any changes, if we're keeping up with them, how do you navigate the ever-changing, those changes in the SP? So if we get some new standards or any changes that come about, how do you navigate that? And then especially as you're training someone, like, oh, this just changed, and they learned it this way in class or anything like that. Anybody want to speak to?
So we do, like each shift has a huddle. So we go over anything that has changed or any important facts that have happened between shifts. And we always go over every new changes to our sets, anything that has come up with vendors, any loaners that come in. So we're always giving out information. We give access to where to find or obtain the information. And if there are such as blowing out the scopes now for 10 minutes. Okay. So we give everybody in services, we give them offering up the education, and we're always letting them know when the standards change.
And I'd say we repeat ourselves constantly. Constant repetition, because it's not going to stick in your brain. Everything we say isn't going to stick in your brain after one time. So it's all about repetition.
7 o'clock huddle is terrible because you're just waking up.
I started writing
all
down
this information in your brain.
I started writing down the people who were at the huddles and what I said, so they couldn't tell me I didn't tell them.
And I send out weekly huddle notes. I post them in the locker rooms.
Okay.
And then it's all about just rounding. Becky mentioned endoscopes. There's so much changing with endo and more stringent regulations. So that's an area that we're focusing on a lot with our 2 endo techs, making sure they're doing it properly and checking on them daily.
So we also do have a board that is up where we kind of do our huddles, and it always has information on it as to what's changing or tips for talking or anything like that, like Joint Commission. So we always put information where it's accessible.
Okay.
We're perfect all the time.
Always.
Yeah,
every day.
That way. It does. It does. Okay. So, as for leadership, can you just maybe talk a little bit about leadership and the how things have maybe changed as you've changed positions how you interact with your other team members as you promote up, and maybe they haven't? How does that work? I think we struck a chord. How?
I definitely the way you speak to people. Everybody's different. Everybody's got different things going on. So you really have to be cognizant about how you approach people, what kind of moods they're in, and it's just it's been a lot different versus being a regular tech and just kind of coming in and doing my thing.
So can you, if you don't mind, and you don't have to share names, can you maybe elaborate, maybe share a little bit of experience or something that just brought you to that?
Some staff members respond better to a more firm, cut and dry approach, whereas other staff members need a softer voice.
Okay.
Right? I think that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair to say.
Yep.
Well, that's different personalities, so obviously different people.
So when I went from a lead or from a regular tech to a lead, I had to really adjust myself and really try to like practice my communication skills. I had to own up to my position, and that was really different. It was a different dynamic, and I mean, it took me to do a lot of hard work in myself to be able to do that. So that was, but it was really cool too, because I gained a lot of confidence in myself and in my team by doing that.
And I think right off the bat, people come to you with things that they want. And I think as long as you're good about like following through with them initially and like making sure you get back to them with any requests or questions that they have, so they actually see that you're putting in the work and valuing what they say, I think you earn their respect.
Absolutely.
Nice. Okay. Terry, are you having a hard time hearing me?
No, I'm just looking at what people are saying in this chat.
Oh, okay. It's like you leaned in. Okay. So my next question, even speaking to that, I actually just was wondering if anybody would talk about or share any of the challenging experiences that you had, especially as it relates to culture at your facility.
Anyone? I mean, I think it's just, I think it goes back to the first question, right? Because the culture and the challenges that we're going to see every day are going to be with the OR, because that's who we're our biggest customer, right? So it's just going to be navigating those waters with the same tech and the nurse that you were chatting about their vacation one day, and then the next day, you know, you're getting that really rude phone call.
Okay.
And just, y'all know what I'm talking about.
It's interesting to see how the faces change.
Feel like that.
That kind of stone faced. I do. One of our watchers are asking, Becky, would you please expound on owning up? And that's me emphasizing, that's my air quotes, owning up to your position. What did that mean for you in ownership? And I like that you said owning up, not just owning, but like the up added to me, like moving up. But could you expound on that?
So like I was so used to, as a tech, like being told what to do. So having to tell others what to do, like I was taking ownership of that responsibility. So that was definitely different to me. Like I was not used to that at all. So it was like finding my voice. Like I own what I say. Like if I tell someone to do that, that is, you know, usually coming from Kenneth. But it's like, you know, this is me owning my spot. It's me taking the directive. I'm trying to teach you. I'm here for you. If you have questions, you can come to me. But also, I want you to know that I respect you.
Thank you.
And
Can I just like build off that a little bit?
No.
Go ahead, please.
Like when I see that owning up to your position, I think about like holding yourself accountable in front of your team and letting them know that they can come to you, they can approach you, They feel safe like asking you questions because it's a serious field, like you're putting instruments together for patients.
Okay.
So they come up and they're like, is this okay to put in here? Or is this okay to put in there? And you have to be confident. You have to know what you're talking about and
You have to
accept responsibility for whatever happens.
Okay. All right. So we'll change this up. Anybody else before I change? All right.
No?
Just a little bit. Do you deal with travelers at your facility?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Just
we
wondering.
love our travelers.
You love your travelers?
Yes,
Of course. You should.
our current ones. He says.
Yes.
Well, can you maybe speak to the relationship, the culture of the facility of your department and travelers, and how does that work, and how does that interaction seem to work with your with your full-time employees, your FTEs, or just like how do they interact? How is that working out for you?
So I'd say when we get a traveler, we don't have a traveler for just one 13-week assignment. We have a traveler for 6 months or a year. So when they leave, it's, if we like them, it's sad because they are one of our own.
A lot of the travelers we had like to come back to our facility.
Yeah.
We have a lot of frequent travelers.
Okay. And so you just get like 1 or 2 at a time? Is that what you?
So when I started on evenings, we had 2 or 3 travelers.
Okay.
On that one shift because it was evenings and no one wanted to be on evenings.
Okay.
Still don't. But I think the rest of the staff are really super appreciative when they have travelers. They're obviously there for a reason. We have a need for these people to be at our facility. So I'd say the staff are appreciative when they're there, and they, treat them like they're one of our own.
So I know that hearing from travelers like that come and go into on my shift anyways, a lot of them have had horrible experiences where travelers weren't allowed to do this, or they were only stationed in here and that was it. And I always thought that was really sad. I'm like, why? You have an abundance of knowledge. You have come from so many different facilities. Like you have all this knowledge and you've seen things. Like, I want you to go around. I want you to be on everything. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to be here and like being here.
Yeah.
Like I have one right now and she is just shining all the time. She's growing. She's always trying to learn more, and she brings a lot of joy to my shift.
Nice.
Like I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good to hear. I'm glad that you are enjoying and appreciating your folks coming in and recognizing the benefits and that they're there for a need. So thanks for sharing that.
I had one of the travelers coming to my house for Thanksgiving one year.
Oh, well, how extra kind. Because you're in a place that gets pretty chilly Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
So they may have been stuck and needed somewhere to go. That's really a way to welcome them into your family. So you have your team, the 4 of you have Triple Crown status. So that's what I was told, Triple Crown status.
Right.
How do you motivate your other staff to obtain multiple certifications?
I like to flash mine. I wear mine every day.
Yeah. My magnets are on my badge.
Yep.
Are you being serious right now?
Yeah.
I showed off.
Yeah.
It's on your badge. So I get how you show off.
And we wear crowns every
day. How do you motivate them to come be like you?
I mean, obviously you hope that there's like there obviously is a monetary incentive, right? You don't want everything to be about money, but at the end of the day, more money is really nice. So there is a monetary incentive to go and get these certifications. And if my memory is correct, you can only sit in a Tech 1 for a certain amount of time.
Okay.
until you absolutely have to get your basic CRCST.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you want to stay in the department. There's your motivation for that. But to get additional certifications, you just hope that, you got to hope that people are passionate about the job and want to make this their career.
Mm-hmm.
There is a monetary incentive, but we also have all of the books for people if they want them. I know that Kenneth has stayed and helped people with their CERs. We're willing to do quizzes and do study groups with everyone if they so choose.
Nice.
And
What
we do pop-up questions on people. Kenneth is always walking around the department giving everybody a hard time.
What is this?
He'll catch corner you and ask you some questions.
Yeah, he does.
So you would say your team is really about helping each other.
Yeah.
It seems like you guys have a really positive outlook, and
I'm all about positivity.
And that's really a good vibe for a department, and helps you obviously to work together well, and to help others work with you. Help us help you.
Yeah.
So I also feel like positivity is contagious, just like negativity is. It's always contagious. So Kenneth always says, fake it till you make it. You're having a bad day, fake it. Put a smile on that face. But so you fake it. Sometimes you're not in a great mood, but that positivity, so it was also in orientation when they said you can walk down a hallway and not know what anyone's going through, and that one smile could make their entire day.
Yeah.
And I carried that with me all the way into my department. And every day I come in with a smile and I go, nothing's going to pop my bubble. Nope. I'm like, not today. So, that also with how much joy I have, even if I fake it, it brings them joy. So they see me happy and maybe they want to get their education like what I do too. Maybe it's inspiring.
And I tell everyone, I said, we spend so much time with each other. We see each other way more than we see our families.
Oh, yeah.
And it's such a close department and such a close area that, it's cheesy that I'm going to say that we're a family, but that's how I think of it. That's me as a person, right? I talk to you for 5 minutes. Okay, we're best friends. And you're coming to my Thanksgiving this year.
There it is.
You told me one time you were coming to my house anyway.
Well, that's really, that's a good feeling, I'm sure, for anyone coming in to feel supported and to feel that positive vibe, to know you guys are helping each other. So, okay. So anything just any challenges, experiences, anything that you would like to share, any tidbits for folks working in the department, anything you just like, oh man, I thought she was going to ask about, or I was hoping I wanted to really bring back up this topic. Anybody want to share anything there?
I just want to tell Arlene that she can come over for Thanksgiving. I put bacon on the turkey and sausage, okay, and our stuffing.
What?
Ah, okay.
I heard bacon.
I know, right?
We'll do a talk on Thanksgiving.
We'll
Thursday
do one on Thanksgiving.
At Sam's
house.
So that might a potluck that might help to speak with the culture of yours, help with the family vibe. We work together. This is a culture of family, and we're all here to support. So again, we want to thank our sponsor, Calzuro, and tell everybody, use the code Time to Talk to get a discount for Treat Your Feet. The code is Treat Your Feet. All right. I have a pause there.
I would definitely take a look at it.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
So it's September. It's September, and what is next month?
October.
I mean, but what do we?
Dan's birthday.
My birthday.
Candy. What about SP week?
I know, it's
Oh,
SPD week.
yeah.
It's SP week. Let's talk a
Oh,
little bit about it. How do you celebrate? How do you plan to celebrate? What kind of things do you do? You know, what? Talk about a little bit about SP week. What's the purpose? Tell us about it.
So we try to get the hospital like recognition up. We usually, in the past, have posted like photos of everyone in the department working down the halls. So when people come in, they can see it, and we put signs out so everyone knows. And the hospital, like, we're all really good about recognizing each other. If it's EVS week or if it's nurses week or tech week, you know, we'll send up little goodies for them. Because the hospital, this is a close community. You know, we all grew up together. Basically, you're all working here. So we do try to celebrate each other.
I mean, I know that, what was it? We also had people come in from other departments to see what we do.
Mhm.
Like, we let them shadow, come in. They're like, hey, if you don't know what SPD is, come on in and we'll show you around. We'll show you what we do. This is what we do. This is why we're important. And this is why you should know about us if you don't.
Now, there will be goodies throughout their week.
Mhm.
We were picking out gifts today, but in case our staff is listening, I'm not going to give them any clues.
Don't tell them.
Not going to spoil the surprise.
Okay. They're not getting Calzuro shoes.
They already have Calzuro shoes.
Mhm.
They're good.
So I
Treat
didn't
your feet,
I didn't
people.
ruin that. So we celebrate. I mean, we, you know, at where I work, we send out gifts to our team. We try to send out things. There's always that concern, like, do they want gifts or do they want money? Or do they want food?
They're not getting money.
We love getting money.
We have the opportunity to get money.
There'll be
with
lots
the
of
ladder.
food.
There'll be lots of food. There will be gifts.
Okay. So you sell. So I hear you guys saying you bring other people from the departments. You from other departments. Do you? So you celebrate your coworkers also? Like you just said you celebrate other departments as well. Is that what you're saying?
So we celebrate our coworkers for our week, but I was just saying, like, the hospital is really good about recognizing each other when it is their week, because there is a nurses week, there is a tech week, there's an EVS week. So
Okay.
it's really nice to see that it's not just us celebrating the department for SPD week. The hospital really does get involved, and we'll have the signs posted, and the workers in the halls will see us in our scrubs, and they'll say happy SPD week, which I think is nice for people to feel valued from the whole hospital, not just the four of us.
Yeah.
That is nice. That is nice. It really sounds like you got a really great camaraderie at your facility all together. So thank you. Thanks everyone for what you do there.
All right. We got some positions coming if anyone's looking to come to the Berkshires, okay?
So I noticed you looked at Dan and then you said we've got positions coming.
Oh, no.
No, he's good.
I'm good.
Dan's good. He's not leaving.
Dan's good.
I'm bad.
Okay.
I got positions though.
Okay. That 3 to 11.
Coveted.
Okay. And so
Coveted 3 to 11.
Sam, how do you go? It says, how do you go from working to being, someone is asking, I know you kind of mentioned it, but how do you go from working alongside with, I think Becky's commented earlier, but how do you go from working alongside with being in charge?
I do that seamlessly.
Oh, okay.
I think I touched upon it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the follow through.
Okay.
I think is super important to get people's respect. Like, hey, could we order this for the wall? It would be super helpful for the department. And I'll say, yeah, I'll do that. And I'll actually go do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think checking in on everyone, right? It's as simple as that, really.
Mm-hmm.
I do try to give them their space a lot of times in the break room. in case because everyone's going to have their grumbles, even though, you know, you can have the most amazing leadership ever. Everyone's still going to have their grumbles.
Okay.
So I try to give them their space a lot of the times on that.
Mm-hmm.
But you just take it day by day.
Well, you guys, you know I'm going to go around the room on this one. So, who's next? Dan, Terry, tell me, how do you go from working alongside with someone and then being in charge or being the lead?
I just make sure that we know the priorities for the day. You know, I lay it out. I'm like, this is what we need to do to get done. And then, you know, we just have fun, bantered throughout the day and everything. That's really what it is. It's like, as long as we're getting what we need done, then we're cool. You know,
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is.
That sounds like my day.
Do you ever come to a situation where, you know, you've been buddies, you've got this banter going, and then you have to actually, you know, take that leadership action, that leader action, and how does that work for you?
Usually not the buddies. The buddies usually, you know, are cool with what I do because they know what I'm doing. You know, they know me, they know how I work.
Okay.
It's usually the not buddies that challenge me, then I have to set them straight.
I'm not going to even ask you what does that look like.
I think it's super helpful also that we all respected each other as peers. So you do have some of that respect carry over when you are switched into leadership. You know, you still say, hey, can you please go do this as a priority? And they'll go, no, but they go and do it. You know, they're just doing that play, but they still, at the end of the day, go and do it for you because they do respect their job. They do respect you.
I've had people say, it's not your business and I'm the lead. I'm like, well, that's why I'm here. Now you have to do it, please. I'm like, that is your assignment. Please do it. And then that's it. You know, if they go do it, then we're cool. You know, I try not to dwell on stuff like that. If they keep giving me trouble, then, you know, I'm going to have to go further up the chain there and report that.
Gotcha.
Or have words.
Becky, I'm looking at Becky chuckling. Yeah. Is there something coming to mind that you're just like, oh?
So not too much. Pretty much almost, well, everyone on my shift that I did work alongside went to either first or
once you owned up, they went ahead and left.
Pretty much. Everybody left except for one. But I don't really have ever anything. I don't ever have to have a negative conversation with him. But we have a respect. So it works out that way. Like, it's still just building a rapport. You just have to do it a different way with your people.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I have just another thought, a question. When you have, like, the SP obviously is very busy. I don't know how many cases you have a day, but I do hear you saying, like, we're understaffed. So when you have situations come up that kind of request or cause you to have to break policy or a standard or anything, how do you handle that?
We don't ever do that.
What do you mean?
We don't break standards and policies. That doesn't happen.
The process is the process.
I love it.
They're there for a reason. They keep everybody safe.
And that's the easiest answer, right? The process is the process.
There's no corners.
That is the only answer.
No corners being cut.
The process doesn't change.
We do not cut corners.
I can't even trip them up. You know,
if you are cutting corners, I will find you.
We will find out if you cut corners.
I will.
You know,
we will have a conversation.
Managing up. Okay. I was just trying to check out some of the comments in case there were questions we were missing. I don't see any. Just thank you, everybody. I appreciate you jumping in here and coming on. And did we get into any of the dirty you hope to get into? Again, anything you wanted to share or anything you wanted to put on the table that you were hoping we could hash out? especially why Kenneth isn't in the room.
I mean, people can start commenting Team Decontam, okay, for training.
Well, they're already chanting. They're already chanting that. It's happening.
Well, I will say that absolutely not one of us is unfamiliar with getting our hands dirty.
Mm-hmm.
We jump in. We are in decontamination. We are helping out on the floor. We are side by side with our team. Mm-hmm. So we're not unseen. We're not hiding behind an office door. We're there. We're in the front of it. So if you're in the front of it, we're in the front of it. And that's like really how we build respect with each other and with our team and our shifts. And that's just how I like to lead. I like to lead by example. So if I'm not working as hard as I want everyone else to work, then I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I have to work. I'm at our ambulatory surgery center, so I'm part of a 3-person team.
Oh, wow.
So we all have to contribute, because if you're not, things are going to fail.
Yeah.
Got you.
And I like to set the example. I got to work hard, so the other people on the team, they'll work just as hard as I do. They do, and I'm impressed with my team that I have right now.
Yeah. You want to know who gave him that team?
Who gave him that team?
Me.
Oh, so I think a thank you's in order.
She did.
Yes, you should. And flash your card, by the way. Flash your badge.
I just want to say on that note, everybody we work with is great about helping one another.
Oh,
yeah.
Whenever we're short-staffed,
Yeah.
people have to go to a different area for to give a break. Somebody's always covering for them. You don't have to ask. They jump right in. They'll pick up a set.
Yeah.
No, you guys are really fortunate. You're really fortunate because that's not always the case in SPDs around the nation, that people are so cohesive. So that's really good. It's good to hear. Be sure that I'm trying to read the notes at the same time, that you share this video. We thank you for coming on today. You're watching Time to Talk with Kenneth Campbell. And so we ask that you share this video and invite others to join and watch Time to Talk and Knowledge and Nonsense. I am Tani Coburn and had this chance to talk with you guys. And I think we are going to wrap up for today and start preparing for SP Week, I guess.
Woo!
I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to this. Thank you so much.